Christian nationalists want to turn America into a theocracy, a government under biblical rule. If things go their way this election, it could mean more power for them and fewer rights for you. I'm Heath Drusen, and on the new season of Extremely American, I'll take you inside the movement that seeks to rebuild the country in God's image. Listen to Extremely American from Boise State Public Radio, part of the NPR network.
It's The Connector for Friday, January 24th, Idaho Daily News. Good morning. I'm Troy Oppie. This morning, raises for state lawmakers are moving forward. An income tax cut has been put on the table for residents. The man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students is back in court, mostly behind closed doors. And the Twin Falls Animal Shelter, battling a major ringworm outbreak, needs your help. All that and more coming up on The Connector, Idaho Daily News from Boise State Public Radio. We'll start today with 2 words that most people like hearing: tax cuts. Idaho lawmakers are continuing to push to lower the state income tax. James Dawson has more on the latest $253 million effort.
Under the bill from House Speaker Mike Moyle, Idaho's personal and corporate income taxes would drop to 5.3%. That would be down nearly 0.4 of a point from current rates. It would also give certain veterans a tax break on their retirement benefits. Here's Moyle.
If you're younger and you want to come back and continue to work, we'll give you an exemption on your retirement also.
House Assistant Minority Leader Steve Birch says he likes the proposed cuts for veterans, but he says the legislature should put the bill on ice until they have a better sense of the state budget.
We can talk about how much money we want to take off the table, but for us to make a decision, I'd like to understand what our fiscal obligations are to know if we can afford this.
Moyle says other proposals to cut the state sales tax and lower county property taxes will be introduced soon. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
Pay hikes for Idaho lawmakers could take effect as soon as next week. Every 2 years, a citizens committee proposes potential pay raises for state legislators. Their current salaries are around $19,000. That committee voted to bump lawmakers' pay to $25,000. But there's a new class of conservative lawmakers who want to tank those raises. The House passed a resolution Thursday telling those lawmakers to donate their pay hike to the Tax Relief Fund. Republican Representative Kent Marmon said the resolution was, quote, playing word games.
You're still increasing spending by over $500,000 with this, and $500,000 here, $500,000 there. Pretty soon you're talking about real money.
Supporters of the pay hikes say lawmakers don't make enough given how much they put into the job, even outside of the legislative session. The raises will become permanent unless both the House and Senate reject them by January 30th. Idaho lawmakers have already introduced one bill this session limiting flags, which can be displayed in public schools. Yesterday, a second bill would set similar rules for any government entity in the state. North Idaho Republican Representative Heather Scott introduced the bill.
The flags we want to see as taxpayers would be the United States flag, an official flag of a government entity as defined in the section, official flags of any state in the United States, official flags of the military branches and units, and the POW and MIA flag.
House State Affairs Committee members offered edits before it was introduced to exclude schools because of the other bill dealing with flags, and to make it take effect upon its passage instead of upon the new fiscal year, July 1st. Defense attorneys for Brian Kohberger, the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students in November 2022, argued yesterday against admitting some DNA evidence at trial investigators used to link Kohberger to the killings. The defense says it was obtained through police misconduct. The first in what was scheduled as 2 days of hearings on those motions and others was yesterday at the Ada County Courthouse. Much of the proceedings were closed to the public, and that's likely to be the case today as well. Judge Stephen Hippler refused a request from multiple media organizations earlier this week to open those hearings, citing the need to not taint a potential jury pool. Open portions of the hearing are being streamed on the Idaho 4th District Court's YouTube page. The Twin Falls Animal Shelter says it needs the public's help to deal with a 2-month-long outbreak of ringworm. The Times News reports the shelter is asking anyone who can to consider fostering cats and says it will have to severely limit taking in new cats for 3 to 4 weeks. Later, the entire shelter will need to shut down for a deep clean, but that hasn't been scheduled. A constant flow of new cats into the shelter has exacerbated the outbreak. Ringworm is a contagious fungal infection affecting the skin, hair, and nails. The shelter says it is working with other shelters in the region, and a portable trailer to house healthy cats is a possibility, but for now, any cats brought to the Twin Falls shelter are at a high risk of being euthanized. As climate change causes weather extremes, a City of Trees solution may be right above our heads. Abigail Moody has more.
In 2020, the City of Boise and the Treasure Valley Canopy Network launched a project to plant 100,000 trees by 2030, around the same number of households in city limits. Danny Root with Boise Park and Rec told Idaho Matters increasing tree coverage may seem small, but it actually has big impacts.
In more treed neighborhoods, we see a reduction in heat and the heat experienced by our community members. And in our less treed neighborhoods, we see that heat rise, especially the experienced heat.
Besides cooling our neighborhoods, the trees can also clean wastewater and purify the air. In 2024, the group planted 230,000 saplings and 1,600 mature trees. Emma Stammer, the program director at the Treasure Valley Canopy Network, says for 2025, her goal is
to get more folks helping us plant more trees.
If you are a City of Boise resident, you may be eligible for a free or discounted mature tree. Abigail Moody, Boise State Public Radio News.
For more information on getting involved, visit boisestatepublicradio.org. Thanks for listening to The Connector, Idaho Daily News from Boise State Public Radio. Hope you have a great Friday and a wonderful weekend. Please subscribe and rate our podcast. That helps other people find us. And follow the latest news at our website, boisestatepublicradio.org. I'm Troy Oppie. Our news director is Sasha Woodruff. Our general manager is Tom Michael. We'll see you again on Monday.